Religion is in decline in the modern part of the world. It used to guide how we should live our lives, but religion seems to have lost most of its relevance to many of today's people. Despite the religion remains pretty much unchanged, the churches are still getting more and more empty as time goes by. So what is happening here? Why is religion less relevant for modern people of today? And what can replace the vacuum that religion has left behind in regards to our basis of life and the guidelines the religion has provided us? Danish author Martinus states that we are developing as human beings in a way that makes religion less relevant for us. In this video we go into what religion is in the first place and what it takes to make religion relevant for people. Thereby we can assess what is happening for today's modern people in relation to religion. Finally, we'll go into what it will take to make a relevant replacement for religion based on what we as humans are today. That is what it takes to get a new basis and guidelines for our lives. So if you have a comment on why religion is declining and what can replace it, please leave it in the comments below. I should also say that this channel is a journey towards understanding some of life's biggest questions. So if you want to follow on that journey, please subscribe to the channel. To understand why religion is in decline in the modern part of the world, we need to understand what it takes to base our life on religion in the first place. I should say that I'm talking about traditional religion, that is faith-based religion such as Christianity, Islam and Buddhism. I believe these religions have some bigger truths in them. But the world pictures in these religions are not explained like we find it in other areas of our life. Authorities convey religions, so you have to believe in what the authorities says. If you can't believe the authorities, then you cannot believe the religion. At least that's my assertion here. So in order to believe in a religion, you need to have the ability to believe. Religion is not relevant to you as a basis for your life if you cannot believe in it. But today we have schools, universities and other education where we get trained in thinking. We need to understand what we're dealing with in life to succeed. We use our intelligence to understand life. Intelligence is the ability to analyze an area. It is to categorize what we experience and find connection between these categories. The religions do not provide the material that we need to analyze the world pictures they present to us. We cannot accept or reject religion with our intelligence because the complete explanations are not there. That is the assertion here. You find this assertion within religions themselves. There is this idea that God's ways are inscrutable. So it's recognized even within a religion that they don't give you a complete explanation. Thus you are left to believe in it or not, because these explanations are not there. Martinus states that believing in religion is an ability. An ability we either have or don't have, or at least to a larger or lesser extent. Thus, believing in religion is not based on will, but on an ability. And it is an ability that we cannot do much about. That is, we either have it or we don't. Intelligence is also an ability. Intelligence requires knowledge. Something that is not based on knowledge is not intelligence, but something else. Thus, intelligence and believing do not go together. It is like oil and water. Thus, the ability to believe declines as our intelligence increases. We need explanation in so many areas of our lives today. We are brought up with this in schools and in our lives in general. As our consciousness becomes more and more based on intelligence, it becomes harder and harder to believe in religion. At some point, religion starts to lose its relevance, because it cannot give a complete explanation. This is why people are leaving religion and the churches are becoming more and more empty. They don't provide what people require anymore, because religion cannot be checked and turned into our own knowledge. With that being said, there are a few potential misunderstandings I would like to get out of the way. First, I'm not claiming that people who are religious are not intelligent. Religious people can be highly intelligent, but it's not intelligence that drives their religion. Believing is not based on intelligence. If intelligence is the main factor in your consciousness in a certain area, then you need to know. Whatever world picture you are presented with has to make sense and have meaning, or else you will have a hard time accepting it. The second point is that there's nothing wrong with religion being something you have to believe in. There's never been the intention that people should get explanations through religion. Guidance and comfort has been the main purpose of religion. And religion has helped humanity on this throughout the centuries. Thirdly, I will assert that the different religions have some bigger truths in them. That's why they're relevant. They're just not laid out so we can check them and make them our own knowledge. But these bigger truths have attracted people and made them believe in them over the years. So people use their intelligence in so many areas of their life, and it becomes harder and harder to turn the intelligence off in the religious area of their life. So what happens to the areas that religion used to provide answers to? We are somewhat left in a no man's land because we also need explanation when it comes to life's biggest questions. Explanation that we don't find in religions. The next section of this video provides a road to a place where we might be able to find some of these explanations of life. So the modern human being of today needs explanation of its life. It needs a well-explained solution to its problems, or else it won't accept them. We already have many of these explanations and solutions in the physical part of our life. We have had material science for hundreds of years, which has made our understanding of the physical world very sophisticated. We can use this sophisticated knowledge to live a more successful and pleasant life. We have heated houses, electricity, computers, satellites, cars, and the list goes on. Of course, some of these things have issues, but we're quite good to come up with a solution for that. So why do we have so many problems in the modern world? Why do we have wars? Why do we have poverties and all those kind of things? That is because there's a mental, a spiritual side of the world. A side of the world that we are not as knowledgeable about as we are with the physical world. This world is our thoughts and thinking, so we are in contact with it all the time. This is where we have the knowledge about how to use our materialistic knowledge. We can use our materialistic knowledge in both good and bad ways. That is, in ways that lead to pleasant or unpleasant outcomes. For instance, you can use vehicles as a common good to create a better society, but they can also be used to go to war and kill people. The first helps out people, the other one hurts people. These are somewhat straightforward examples, but it can be difficult to distinguish what is good or bad to do. How to treat other people and living beings. How to take advantage of the material knowledge in a proper way. Religion is to some extent a guide in this area because it comes with ethics and moral. But as I explained earlier, many people don't rely on religious answers anymore. So we are kind of left to ourselves and have to find our own way. That is because we don't have scientific knowledge on the mental side of the world as we have with the materialistic side of the world. We need an explanation for the mental or the moral side of life so we can do the right things. The right things being things that lead to happiness instead of sorrow. That leads to something pleasant or something unpleasant. It is the same with the materialistic approach. We know if we understand how to deal with the physical world in a correct way, we get the result that we want. And if we don't know it, that's a problem. Philosophy has some answers with its ethics and different views on life. But there's no fundamental agreement within philosophy about what the world is and how we should behave in it. This is due to the lack of knowledge. So life is still a mystery to a large extent to us. We basically don't know what life is. When we lack knowledge about the material part of the world, we can expect things to go more or less wrong until we understand the area. The same applies to the mental or ethical area. As long as we basically don't know what life is and thus what is right and wrong, there's a tendency for things to go wrong. And that is what we see in the world of today. We need to know how the mental side of life functions, what its principles are, and how we can work with it. We need to learn how to build the mental or ethical side of life. It is similar to the way we need to learn how to navigate the materialistic part of life. We are just not experienced in that area yet. Some even refuse its existence. So what is it we need? We need a science about the spiritual side of life. Martinus claims he has described the signs that are the basics of the mental or spiritual part of our life. He describes principles that our life is based on so we can understand life and navigate it. He explains what life is by solving the mystery of life. He does it not only by telling us what it is, but by giving us hundreds of pages of explanations. We can go through and check with our own intelligence and match it with our own daily experiences. He flat out states that we should not believe what he is saying. We should check and understand what he is stating, and he's absolutely fine if we don't agree with him. He once stated that it's more important that we are friends than we agree on the content of his writing. Moreover, there's no membership or ceremony surrounding his work, so the thoughts do not resemble faith-based religion at all. However, there are religious aspects in his writing, but with the intention to explain these religious aspects and not to have people believe in something. I cannot go into Martinus' explanations in this video, but just point towards that they are there. Probably sounds like an assertion from my side if something like this is new to you, but you have the option to check them out yourself. I have linked to his work in the description. Martinus' work is, in my mind, a plausible candidate to take over where religion stops. I should say again that this doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with religion. Religion has had and still has a huge role, but it's for people who can believe in things. They get comfort in religion, and if it's where you are, then you should stick to that. That's absolutely nothing wrong with being a religious person. It would actually be wrong not to stick with it. We are just in different places in our life, so it's not even the case that some people are worth more than others because they are religious or intelligence-based people. But we need to acknowledge that there are people who cannot get a basis for their life in religion. When life happens and things get bad, then people need an explanation to make sense of it. It is not enough to state that God's ways are inscrutable. That doesn't work for these people. The explanation can be a necessity to the same extent as religious people need their religion. To my best knowledge, Martinus provides these explanations, and that is why I'm doing these videos. Maybe someone out there needs explanations, but are just not aware of them. I have not provided any of these explanations in this video, but I hope that the possibility that explanation could exist might inspire you to look further into the work of Martinus. I have linked a couple of videos in the description where I go into some of the analysis of the living being, which illustrate how Martinus argues for the eternal world picture. If you want to see more videos about topics like this, please subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, please give it a like, leave a comment if you have any questions, anything you want me to react on. Subscriptions, likes and comments helps the channel a lot, so please do that. Thank you in advance, and thanks for watching the video, and see you next time.